Programmers invent structures to house and control designs and programs. Managers invent structures to house and control programmers. The capability maturity model integration is one of those management structures. The value of the CMMI to an organization varies depending on the domain of forces to which it must respond, such as reputation, economics, mission, competitiveness, outsourcing, and high assurance. The penultimate value of the CMMI is the degree to which its ability to deliver satisfactory responses in a strategic context is demonstrated when faced with these competing forces. It is time to revisit why organizations should adopt the CMMI and to refresh the value proposition. While the traditional treatment of the value of the CMMI in terms of cost, schedule, productivity, quality, customer satisfaction, and return on investment is sufficient to promote adoption of the CMMI and even to sustain a process improvement initiative through the early maturity levels, the value of the CMMI determined in this way is likely to be underestimated as the organization approaches higher maturity levels. The value of the CMMI can be framed more strategically as the means for carrying out visionary statements of strategic intent in achieving measured outcomes in business and competitiveness, management and predictability, process and improvement, engineering and trustworthiness, and operations and dependability. Now that the CMMI has been organized into three constellations for assuring an organization's capability to perform development, acquisition, and service, there is a need to extend the range of value of the CMMI to a new normal. As an organization improves its process maturity, strategic imperatives need to replace waste and neglect as the driver of CMMI value. Only those organizations able to elevate their game and transition from tactical to strategic use of the CMMI will be able to reap its full value. What is software? Harlan Mills, early pioneer in the application of structured programming, observed, "Software permits the harmonious cooperation between people and machines." This cannot be improved upon as the starting point for the definition of software. What is software engineering? The term software engineering was coined at the NATO Software Engineering Conference held in Garmisch, Germany in 1968 to focus on the software crisis. In 1969, conference attendee Frederick L. Bauer provided a definition for software engineering: the establishment and use of sound engineering principles in order to obtain economically software that is reliable and works efficiently on real machines. At IBM's Federal Systems Division in 1988, Terry Baker defined software engineering as the application of conceptual models, basic structures, and unit operations to the systematic design, development, and management of software products which solve real-world problems. Scientific American, September 1994, provided a definition of software engineering: the application of systematic, disciplined, quantifiable approach to the development, operation, and maintenance of software. Influenced by TRW's Barry Beam, the IEEE definition for software engineering states the systematic approach to the development, operation, maintenance, and retirement of software. What is software process? Watts-Humphrey defines software process as the set of tools, methods, and practices used to produce a software product. The quality of the software process largely determines the quality of the software products that result. The Capability Maturity Model Integration, CMMI, is being adopted worldwide by government, military, and commercial organizations as the standard for process improvement. The CMMI is a framework of best practices that focus on assuring product quality through process performance. Prototyped in 1988 and now retired, the original CMM focused on software processes. Introduced in 2000, CMMI focused on software development and was expanded to include systems engineering, product acquisition, integrated team, and requirements development. The CMMI is now organized into 3 constellations and has become the basis for assuring an organization's capability to perform software development, acquisition, and service. The current CMMI is labeled version 1.3 and was released in December 2010. Owing to its origins, the CMMI lacks an explicit correlation to business alignment and strategic planning, sources of essential value to the enterprise. In addition, the CMMI may operate best in a closed system with top-down command and control decision-making. In open organization environments with more diverse bottom-up consensus-based decision-making, other choices may be preferred. With pressure mounting on the value of the CMMI, the benefits of agile and iterative development methods known since the 1970s, and the widespread adoption of Six Sigma, the source and range of value of the CMMI, are being questioned and tested. Even Watts Humphrey expressed concern. Asked about the direction of the CMMI is headed, Watts Humphrey conceded that the CMMI has a problem with performance for high maturity organizations, and specifically cited the use of process performance baselines and models by lead assessors. He made a careful distinction between procedural, the what, and operational, the how, processes. Whereas the procedural process depends on a bureaucracy to enforce it, the operational process depends on coaching a self-managing trusted workforce to apply its methods. In accordance with the need to foster innovation, the bureaucratic top-down appraisal-driven compliance may be giving way to more diverse bottom-up self-directing team empowerment and self-determination. Just as the CMMI focuses on the what in assuring product quality through process performance, Agile deals with how to build software through well-defined methods that place an emphasis on increasing customer satisfaction. Similarly, Six Sigma further supplies the how with an emphasis on the systematic use of artifact templates, measurement, and control graphics in data-driven decision-making and the reduction of waste. Change agents must now revisit their understanding of the value of the CMMI. The CMMI organization into 3 constellations spanning development, acquisition, and service, and the expanded target audience of producers, buyers, and users of software products and systems bring with it change. Change for the change agents themselves as they take the lead in establishing a new normal of expectation for the value of the CMMI. It is time to revisit why organizations adopt the CMMI and to refresh the value proposition. Drawn from the ranks of middle management, change agents have systematically underestimated the value of the CMMI as they service the needs of middle managers seeking benefits that demonstrate compliance with the CMMI through tactical improvements such as cost, schedule, productivity, quality, customer satisfaction, and return on investment. Instead, change agents need to focus on the increasing value of software to the enterprise and engage senior executives by framing the value of the CMMI in their more strategic terms, spanning innovative and visionary claims that enhance the reputation of the enterprise, promote superior economic achievement, meet mission performance expectation, achieve global competitiveness, promote trusted outsourcing, and demonstrate high assurance. Contrary to the arguments by some that the CMMI is unnecessary and its value is overestimated, the real value of the CMMI is systematically underestimated. In the small, the value of the CMMI is traditionally cast in terms of cost, schedule, productivity, quality, customer satisfaction, and return on investment. In accordance with the theory of expected utility, these outcomes are thought to attain the most benefits and incur the least cost when using the CMMI. Specifically, where the cost of quality includes both the cost to achieve quality and the cost of poor quality, defect avoidance and early defect detection are the principal drivers underlying these benefits. The cost of quality, often consuming 2/3 of the engineering budget, is being cut in half through process improvement. In addition, software productivity improvements approaching 50% have been experienced, along with overall cost reductions of 25%. While the use of these factors as markers of CMMI value may supply sufficient motivation to adopt the CMMI, especially an attractive ROI, the real value of the CMMI is likely to be underestimated. The value of the CMMI can be viewed more comprehensively and is ultimately determined by the increasing value of the software to the enterprise and the nation. In the large, the value of the CMMI lies in its role as an enabler of strategic software management. Strategic software management revolves around knowing what the customer needs most, aligning the best capability to provide it, understanding current practice, measuring its critical aspects, selecting the most promising changes, planning for lasting improvement, raising the ability to improve, and staying the course. In framing the issue around strategic intent, means, and measured outcomes, the value of the CMMI can be leveraged in terms of strategic software management, and the statements of strategic intent can be cast directly in the context of the business, management, process, engineering, and operations cultural drivers of the organization and its industry sector. The adoption and expert use of the CMMI leverage the means through an organizational culture, professional environment, and process framework. In reasoning about the value of the CMMI, the business value proposition revolves around how the issue of value is framed. As the means for carrying out statements of strategic intent and achieving measured outcomes, framing the value of the CMMI in the large focuses on the elements of strategic intent, means, and measured outcomes, spanning business management, process, engineering, and operations. Business and competitiveness include control of suppliers, customers, competitors, and threat events, and their measured outcomes, spanning staff churn, personnel turnover, open requisitions, employee morale, personnel overtime, off-the-clock time, span of responsibility, customer loyalty, customer satisfaction, release frequency, time to market, reuse practice, open source, and innovation. Management and predictability include commitment management, requirements management, planning and tracking cost, schedule, and quality, configuration management, management oversight, and risk management, and their measured outcomes spanning change control, cost control, schedule control, earned value control, productivity, quality control, and span of responsibility. Process and improvement include process definition, measurement, and training, and their measured outcomes spanning repeatability, predictability control, schedule control, capability control, and capacity control. Engineering and trustworthiness include disciplined software engineering, the standard of excellence for completeness, correctness, consistency, and rules of construction, and team innovation and their measured outcomes spanning reliability, availability, security, resiliency, traceability, defect-free, uniformity, complexity control, usability, and ideas generated, selected, and used. Operations and dependability include sustainable management, repeatable and predictable process, trustworthy software engineering, and human resources capability and capacity, both in-house and outsourced, and their measured outcomes spanning sustainability, repeatability, predictability control, configuration management, defect management, span of responsibility, capability control, and capacity control. The value of the CMMI varies in accordance with the forces that drive the organization. The culture of the organization is shaped by its strategically intended responses to these forces. The industry sector in which an organization is a competing or participating member exerts influences associated with controlling suppliers, customers, competitors, and event threats. Some examples of industry sectors include telecommunications, financial, manufacturing, transportation, medical, utilities and energy, e-commerce, and defense. The relative size, positioning, and longevity of an organization within its industry sector influence the mix of past, present, and future strategies and tactics it adopts. Some organizations find themselves anchored in the legacy of the past. Others simply glean the benefits of a prosperous economy without a plan for the future. Still others, perhaps new on the scene, not well established, and without a legacy, are banking on the future. The software products and services and the mix of embedded, organic, and packaged offerings are driving forces in software production, fielding, and maintenance. The value of the CMMI to an organization is different depending on the domain of forces to which it must respond. Where a valued aspect is dominant, such as reputation and image, economics and finance, mission and continuity of operations, indicators of competitiveness, supply chain management and outsourcing, and trustworthiness and high assurance, an optimum response may result, thereby simplifying the making of commitments, setting goals, and conducting trade-offs. In less optimal situations, a blend of valued but competing aspects may lead to a more diverse response to these forces. An organization driven by reputation and avoiding the risk of loss of trust may place a high value on trustworthiness and security, along with the steps needed to assure these attributes. The telecommunications, financial services, and medical sectors, where trust is all important, fit the reputation scenario. An organization driven by economics may place a high value on profitability and attributes like cost control, productivity, and span of responsibility. The financial services, manufacturing, and utilities and energy sectors fit the economic scenario. An organization driven by mission may place a high value on sustainability, capability control, and capacity control, as well as reliability, availability, security, and resiliency. The telecommunications, transportation, medical, and defense sectors fit the mission scenario. An organization driven by competitiveness may place a high value on release frequency, time to market, and innovation, as well as cost and schedule control and predictability control. The manufacturing and e-commerce sectors fit the competitiveness scenario. An organization driven by outsourcing may place a high value on release frequency, time to market, and innovation, as well as quality control, configuration management, and span of responsibility of onshore staff. The manufacturing sector fits the outsourcing scenario. An organization driven by high assurance may place a high value on trustworthiness, including quality control, defect-free, predictability control, resiliency, and frequency of release. The telecommunications, financial services, transportation, medical, and defense sectors fit the high assurance scenario. For the enterprise considering adopting the CMMI as its framework for process improvement, framing the value of the CMMI in terms of cost, schedule, productivity, quality, customer satisfaction, and return on investment is recommended. Here it needs to be understood that the CMMI may operate best in a closed system with top-down command and control decision-making, and that there is a growing preference for open organization environments with more diverse bottom-up consensus-based decision-making where other choices may be preferred. For the enterprise already engaged with the CMMI but seeking to extract the true value of the CMMI in the context of industry sector forces, and intent on maximizing that value in terms of cultural drivers and specific strategic intents, framing the value of the CMMI in more strategic terms of measured outcomes in business and competitiveness, management and predictability, process and improvement, engineering and trustworthiness, and operations and dependability is recommended. Here it needs to be understood that the CMMI lacks an explicit correlation to business alignment and strategic planning, and that innovative strategic thinking is required to connect the CMMI with these sources of essential value to the enterprise. Here's my contact information. I would be happy to receive questions and have discussions with people on this important subject.